I welcome you all for the video lecture on exception handling in Java. What is an exception? An exception is an abnormal condition that arises in a code sequence at runtime. In other words, an exception is a runtime error. In computer languages that do not support exception handling, errors must be checked and handled manually, typically through the use of error codes and so on. This approach is a cumbersome one and it is troublesome. Java's exception handling avoids these problems and in the process brings runtime error management into the object oriented world. A Java exception is an object that describes an exceptional condition that has occurred in a piece of code. When an exceptional condition arises, an object representing that exception is created and thrown in the method that caused the error. That method may choose to handle the exception itself or pass it on. Either way, at some point, the exception is caught and processed. Exceptions can be generated by the Java runtime system or they can be manually generated by your code. Exceptions thrown by Java relate to fundamental errors that violate the rules of the Java language or the constraints of the Java execution environment. Manually generated exceptions that are typically used to report some error condition to the caller of a method. Exception handling in Java is managed via five keywords: try, catch, throw, throws, finally. Program statements that you want to monitor for exceptions are contained within a try block. If an exception occurs within the try block, it is thrown. Your code can catch this exception using catch and handle it in some rational manner. System generated exceptions are automatically thrown by the Java runtime system. To manually throw an exception, use the keyword throw. An exception that is thrown out of a method must be specified as such by a throws class. Any code that absolutely must be executed after a try block completes is put in. Exception handling syntax is given here. So this is the general form of an exception handling block. Try, the block of code to monitor for errors. Catch, exception handler for exception type 1 and then type 2. Finally, the block of code to be executed after try block ends. Exception types. All exception types are subclasses of the built-in class throwable .java .lang.throwable. Throwable has two subclasses: exception, error. Exception exceptional conditions that user programs should catch. There is an important subclass of exception called runtime exception. Exceptions of this type are automatically defined for the programs that you write and include things such as division by zero and invalid array indexing. Exceptions that are not accepted to be caught under normal circumstances by your program. Exceptions of type error are used by the Java runtime system to indicate errors having to do with the runtime environment itself. Stack overflow is an example of such an error. Exception handling types. Exceptions and errors are the two types. Under exceptions, check exceptions. input output exception, SQL exception, class not found exception. Uncheck exception includes the arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, index out of bounds exception. Index out of bounds exception further classified into array index out of bounds exception and string index out of bounds exception. The errors are classified into three: stack overflow error, virtual machine error, and out of memory bound error. Exception handling types: unchecked exceptions and checked exceptions. They are not checked at compile time but at runtime, or the unchecked exceptions. For example, arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index out of bounds exception, exceptions under error class, etc. And checked exceptions are checked at compile time. For example, input output exception, interrupted exception, etc. Again, in example, for the uncaught exception, in this example, we have not supplied any exception handlers of our own. So the exception is caught by the default handler provided by the Java runtime system. Any exception that is not caught by a program will ultimately be processed by the default handler. Here is the exception generated when this example is executed. Java.lang.arithmetic exception handling, try and catch. What if I do want to handle exception by myself manually? Using try and catch, it is possible. It has two benefits. First, it allows you to fix the error. Second, it prevents the program from automatically terminating. To guard against the and handle a runtime error, simply enclose the code that you want to monitor inside a try block. Immediately following the try block, include a catch clause that specifies the exception type that you wish to catch. So the example for try and catch. Here the try will monitor block of code and the catch will catch the exception. Multi-catch clauses. In some cases, more than one exception could be raised by a single piece of code. To handle this type of situation, you can specify two or more catch clauses, each catching a different type of exception. When an exception is thrown, each catch statement is inspected in order, and the first one whose type matches that of the exception is executed. After one catch statement executes, the others are bypassed and the execution continues after the try or catch block. Multiple catch clauses. Example is given here. Here I can give more than one catch to catch the exceptions. Thus, coming to the end session. Thank you all. Let meet you all in another video lecture material and Java. Thank you.